Welcome to episode 9 of the Otakus and Geeks Podcast. Yes, we have changed the title. So we have a new title, Otakus and Geeks Podcast now. There will be probably some versus elements from time to time, but it's no longer Justin versus Sean, and it's now Otakus and Geeks podcast show. So we are going to introduce our fine panelists and our guests as always. You already know who I am, Justin, and I'm going to pass it to Nadia. How you doing?
Hey guys, Gotham Geek Girl here, hanging in.
Sean, a true comic book fan, and I'm trying to hang in. it's Sunday, so.
Are we no longer plugging?
Are
we just saying our names now?
Plug whatever you can plug at the end. If they don't know us by now, there's a problem.
Just check in. What's good, y'all? It's your boy, the Icon. Red Eyes Entertainment on YouTube. Thank you for everybody that watched my Swamp Thing season finale review. I got a lot of attention for that. WandaVision episodes 1 and 2 are on the channel, and Monday we will have the review of Batwoman.
Nice. So we're going to actually kick things off. Well, something we didn't touch on a previous episode, which we're going to do a quick run through. Really quick run through of news of this.
Why you looked at me when you said that?
Because we can't start every episode with DC. Wow. Okay,
wow. So we don't start any episodes with DC.
We have the last 3 episodes with DC news and DC. So, we're freshening things up, guys. Don't worry, we're going to be more diverse in our topics. So. Don't worry, it's not going to be just comics and things like that, all right? So,
and I'm still going to bash DC.
Yes, but DC, what we didn't get to touch on is that DC, starting in 2022, DC is going to release 4 movies per year. And 2 will be going to HBO Max, which is going to be Batgirl and Static Shock to kick it off. And then we don't know what the other 2 are going to be. But, yes, so...
Probably Aquaman.
Most likely, probably Aquaman or another.
Black
Adam or Shazam.
They did say if the Snyder Cut does very well, they're gonna greenlight a Trinity movie, and they're gonna talk about allowing Ben Affleck to do his Batman versus Deathstroke film.
Okay, I guess.
But those would be HBO Max exclusive.
That I'd be happy to see, but I see DC continues to want to shit on like classic comic books by letting Schneider take his hands, put his hands and stuff, because I'm pretty sure he's going to fuck up Trinity.
This won't be Snyder.
Well, he's done after this because he says he's focusing on Army of the Dead, which is he's doing another zombie flick.
So he wants to fuck up a classic zombie movie, huh?
Well, it's not Day of the Dead. Army of the Dead.
No, Army of the Dead is so you want to wait for the great what's his name to pass away so you can shit on his legacy.
No, I thought it was Dawn of the Dead. No, it was Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and then there was the one with John Leguizamo,
Dead of the Dead,
which was
that was
I forgot what that one was called, but
it was pretty decent.
Yeah, and then you had the one which was horrible, which I watched all Romero's zombie flicks, the one with the horse, Survival of the Dead or something like that. Gosh. Yeah, so no, but he's going to be focusing on zombie films, and I did like his remake of Dawn of the Dead, so I'm looking.
No, I didn't have that much of a problem with it. I think what's the one where they use the video camera throughout most of it? I forgot which of the Dead that one was, but that one was pretty good. And the one with the horse was a little weird for me.
Yeah, the Western one.
Yeah. So like I said,
I remember they sent us that. They was like, "Yeah, we review." It's like, "Yeah, it's Marrero," and I was like, "Oh, no." Western and zombies don't really. That one didn't really go. For me.
But I don't have a problem with them. Like I said, I actually wanted to see Ben Affleck's movie more than I wanted to see the Robert Pattinson, because they chose that over Ben Affleck's film. But if they let him do it on HBO Max, I'll definitely
because they weren't happy with his version of it. That's why
because it was dark.
I think
it was the best part of that shitty ass movie.
What?
You talking about the Justice League?
Yeah, and maybe more BVS.
Yeah, I can.
Are you talking about Ben Affleck or Slade?
No, Ben Affleck. And I want to see Slade.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree to a point that he was good in BVS, but BVS just shit the bed for me the entire movie.
I mean,
it's more the writing and like consistency and
Yeah, but nobody.
The studios.
Yeah,
like Ben was good.
Yeah, nobody complained about his Batman chase scene. Nobody complained about his warehouse fight scene.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, I think 4 movies per year. I mean, for any super, even if Marvel announced this, I think that's excessive. I mean,
I'm like, DC can't even get a movie right. Like Wonder Woman was shit. Slow down.
Hey, Aquaman made $1 billion.
Yeah, but that's
because of China.
I'm saying,
that's why.
Slow down.
Because no, that's China had most of the sales. Like,
but they didn't do shit in the U.S. I mean, not saying they didn't do shit. It's not like they did shit.
International's why I had billions.
Yeah, it's not like they did shit in the U.S. Like in the U.S., it was still a solid movie. Yeah. Like people still flocked to it. I mean, one of the things I liked about it was everybody had this big fight comparison of how Aquaman's movie was just DC's version of Black Panther. Wow. And they started showing you they showed you the scene comparisons of how when they flew into Wakanda, how they were floating into Atlantis. And it's not like anybody was upset about it. They were just like, it was a nice comparison. Like
but comics,
they both did a great job.
Even in comics, they always imitate.
Yeah, because all the comic book characters are just rip-offs of each other.
Yeah, like Darkseid and Thanos.
Actually, saw a video called "The Similarities Between BVS and Civil War."
Yeah, I've seen something like that.
What similarities? Like, you can't take a good movie versus a shit movie.
Yeah, that would be too long. But the mother things. He killed my mom. My mom.
That I could give it. But I was like, you can't take a shit movie.
I'll show you the video after the podcast.
Yeah, that would have been an hour long discussion. But
I don't have a problem. Like, to me, it's not too much because they're splitting it. Because the thing is, we all know they want content on the damn app. Yeah. So they're like desperately like trying to get as much content on the app as possible. If you were telling me you're going to give me 4 or 5 movies coming out in movie theaters in a single calendar year, then I'd have been like, okay, that's a little excessive. But there are always going to be characters that they care about more than others. So if you're going to do the characters that you give a shit about for the big screen and do the lower characters,
lower tier.
Yeah,
let's call them the lower tier.
Yeah, if you put the lower tier characters on HBO Max, I don't have a problem with that.
And for your wrestling fans, we'll use the
mid-carders.
I just hope theaters come back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because the thing is, like, streaming is really killing it for them because I think that's why was it Nolan or Schneider that got pissed?
It was Nolan.
Yeah,
Nolan.
Yeah, that said he was, like, this isn't right. And I mean, I understand what he's saying. They really don't make any money because the streaming app is only going to buy the movie for about so much money.
Yeah,
because it's not like people pay to see these movies, and Disney already proved that, you're going to fuck up trying to overcharge for these movies.
Mulan.
So they, like, even Disney learned their lesson real quick. Like, either you're going to put this movie out or you're not going to put it out, or you better put it out for the price of a movie ticket because nobody is going to pay $30 for a movie.
There's nothing wrong with going straight to Blu-ray or VOD. You can still get your sales from that. Like that's why I'm like, when they put things on streaming, like, it's cool, but you also kind of hemorrhage your market when it comes to your Blu-ray and DVD sales too, because
which is why I always say DC is smart. They put out the Blu-ray a month before they let it hit the streaming. So if you really want to see it right now,
go buy it.
You're gonna go buy it. But if you're patient enough, 2 months later to watch it on a streaming app, then that's on you.
Well, they also said that once the Wonder Woman 30-day trial ends on HBO Max, then the Blu-ray is supposed to come out maybe like not too long after that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they just put Wonder Woman on HBO Max and it's going to be here for life.
Yeah.
It's like you got 30 days.
Yep. So watch the movie, and it's already online. Yeah, so I
think they kind of shit the bed with this one. Like, even if you put it out on Blu-ray, I don't think people are going to flock to go buy it.
Yeah.
Well, the people that don't have HBO Max will probably buy it because,
Listen, I got about 8 friends who didn't have HBO Max and came over here and watched it. It was like, thank God.
But Nade, what do you think? 4 movies per year. What do you think?
I think they need to slow down. Like, my issue with DC for years is like they're trying way too hard to keep up with Marvel. It's like Marvel has a formula that works for them. You still need to figure your shit out. Like, they rushed so quick to get Justice League out to catch up to Avengers, and look what happened. I feel like just slow down. I'd rather wait like 4 years for a really good freaking movie than them just shitting out a bunch of movies. But I'm excited as hell for Static Shock.
Yeah, I think DC's strongest is at its strongest when they're focusing solely on just individual films without having to connect to anything.
Like Shazam was amazing.
Shazam,
Aquaman
Joker
was good.
Joker, when they're not world building, I think that's when DC is at its strongest. And
no, it could be world building. They just need to take their, like she said, they need to take their time.
Yeah, they need to take their time.
Because
like Marvel's been doing this over 10 years now, building the MCU. Like they make sure that every little detail down to like someone's breakfast makes sense. You know what I mean? Like they make sure that everything wraps up. DC is just like, oh, we just made this movie and it completely like eliminates what just happened.
And remember, DC had a chance to start with Marvel because Marvel started in 2008.
Yeah, they tried with Green Lantern. We saw what happened.
But I mean, Green Lantern was 2011. They could have taken it back. They actually could have put a really good standalone. Like, wasn't Nolan's Batman out at that time? Was it? They could have kind of started building it.
They could have salvaged the Green Lantern.
Yeah, they could
have kept going.
Yeah, they could have built it like around. Even if you didn't use Christian Bale, you could have built it around like because Christian Bale's movies were everybody was so into them that you could have just started building it a little bit. But then you decided, okay, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna wait like 5 or 6 years later before we're actually gonna put out something. And the first thing you put out is Batman versus Superman.
Well, they put out Man of Steel first.
Okay, Man of Steel, which I still think is people shit on that movie, and it was such a good movie.
Good.
Yeah, it was such a good movie, and I was just like, they're like, oh, I hated this, too much Jor-El. I'm like, but
too much Jor-El.
There's never too much Jor-El.
Yeah, like you stupid.
It was Russell Crowe.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was like, I like that they built up the story on Krypton a little more than just the planet is blowing up. Like he sets off the space.
Culture in Krypton.
Yeah, so like they could have started like building it from there. But Nadia is absolutely correct. Marvel had a formula. They tested it. They went through it. We got to remember, Marvel was cranking out good hits for like they don't give Blade enough credit for keeping Marvel relevant in. Yeah.
Yes, clap to that. Clap to that.
Yes, like oh damn it, I'm fine.
I always say Blade, Amazing Spider-Man 2, the first Iron Man, and the Nolan Batman saved comic book movies.
Wait, Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Electro?
No,
hell no. Oh my god.
She means
Spider-Man. I had to do that because there's going to be some asshole in the comic section. Be like,
oh my god, I just called myself Tobey Maguire. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Spider-Man 2.
I know what you mean, but for the idiot that's going to be in the comic section going, oh how dare you. It's actually Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
No. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 saved comic book movies.
The only time I wanted to punch Sam Raimi in the face was Spider-Man 3 because I was like,
it doesn't count.
If you didn't like the Venom, if you don't like Venom and you didn't like the Venom story,
quick question,
don't do it.
There was a Spider-Man 3?
Yes, there was. We can try to forget it as much as we want to, but there was a Spider-Man 3.
I don't remember that.
No. I want Raimi to remember this.
I remember there was a Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then they were going to do a 3 with the Lizard, and then they canceled. So
no. Raimi's gonna remember this. Like, listen, you know how like when somebody does something wrong, when you smack your dog in the face for shitting on the carpet, he has to put his face.
Well, this
in
is
every
good
time.
Transition because this is going on to our next topic. He will redeem himself, hopefully, with Doctor Strange too. But before we get to that, we have Disney's Plus just kicked off the new officially Phase 4 now with WandaVision. And for those who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Marvel and Disney you're going to have to watch everything now. You're going to have to watch the TV shows and the movies in order to get the whole overview of the story of the narrative that they're doing for Phase 4 and 5. So you have to watch WandaVision if you want to understand Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, then Spider-Man 3 with Tom Holland.
Well, I still think they fucked up anyway because Phase 4's kickoff was Black Widow, which they have yet to show us.
But like we said last episode, that's kind of just in the past. So
no, but it's not so far in the past where I've already found out about what the post credits is. That actually is from their own mouths is the start of Phase 4 because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, and I'm not going to.
You can tell me after the show.
The very end credits of Black Widow is what kicks off Phase 4.
So they should have released Black Widow.
And they should have. And at a certain point, you should have already kicked off because it's a surprise at the end, which leads you to believe that a lot of people are coming back that you think aren't gonna come back. So why would you like I figured and I think I said this to Jarrell. I thought Marvel was going to pull what they did with Spider-Man, and like they were going to announce Wonder Woman, and then all of a sudden Disney was going to go, hey, also this weekend we're going to release Black Widow, and I'd have been like, oh wow, thank you. There's something else for us to watch. This was before I saw Wonder Woman. I was like, now I get to see Wonder Woman and Black Widow, and it was like, okay, that'd have been a perfect opportunity. Nope. Why they're holding on to this video when they've let every NBA player see it and their families, everybody knows somebody's got it bootleg somewhere.
I would even pay like $10 for it.
Yeah, like put it out. Like just stream it at this point.
I'm not that big of a Black Widow fan. It's like for me, I'm not a big Black Widow fan, so I don't really. I'm not clamoring for it. Like release the movie like the Snyder.
But it looks way better than Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. Yeah, like I'm actually hyped for Black Widow
because they actually fleshed out a lot of the characters that are in the movie that are going to be important for the rest of the Marvel phases, because you're going to get introduced to Taskmaster, which
I'm excited for.
They did a really good version of Taskmaster. You're going to find out how many times they've redone the super soldier serum, because her father is one of the people who have injected with the Russian version of it. You're going to find out about her sister. You're going to find out about her mother. You're going to find out about her past. And it's a good storyline, but then the end is the most important part of it. And then you're going to put that out. I mean, I like WandaVision, but I think the thing with Black Widow that's more important, it's more important to Falcon and Winter Soldier than it is to WandaVision.
And that comes out in March. So then Black Widow's slated for May. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're doing some cuts with Black Widow to make it fit in this new order. Because, Marvel, you have to watch everything in a certain chronological way. So maybe they're doing some little reworking to make it.
I think, like Jarrell has said about DC, there's somebody that's an executive with his finger up his ass that doesn't want to release. Like, no, let's just hold on to it until theaters open. It's too late. At this point, you already got WandaVision out, Winter Soldier, and then Doctor Strange is next. Just release it on Disney.
Not to mention that a lot of people, especially with Warner Brothers doing the move they do, a lot of people are expecting other studios to. Well, Sony just came out and said they're not doing that, and I don't even know why Sony's starting their own streaming service. That's another topic.
Oh,
yes,
God.
Sony announced a streaming service as well. That's where you'll be able to watch all your Spider-Man stuff. Just give the rights back to Marvel. Seriously.
I didn't even realize Spider-Man wasn't on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, Homecoming, none of that is on Disney Plus. Because Sony's holding it hostage for their streaming service.
Yeah, because they didn't make that deal when they renegotiated their deal with Marvel to bring Holland back. Because they knew they fucked up. They knew if they took Holland out of the Spider-Man, the Avengers universe, that it wasn't going to fly. So they decided
it could have worked if they just, like, the only way I could have saw that working is if they brought back either Toby or Andrew. I think people would have been more, like, forgiving a little bit more.
No, they knew it was going to flop, because now you've taken his character and made him such an important part of the Marvel universe. It's like snatching somebody's child away from them. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, there's some bullshit. Like, Venom did well, but Venom didn't do well off the bat.
Trash.
Like trash.
It didn't do well off the bat. If you watch, I'm just saying it from my point of view of having watched it like 6 or 7 times.
I never watched it.
There are things in there that you're like, okay, yeah, it's not like you're missing much. And I think this was one of the few storylines that I can say they used the Venom Lethal Enforcer storyline, and it wasn't too badly done. But, I didn't like how they treated the other suits.
Yeah.
Like
Riot.
Yeah, like Riot. Riot was not that much of a pussy. Like, Riot was really bad in the comic books. Like, not bad in a bad way, but, like, Riot was lethal.
I mean, but actually, when is the Super Bowl? February? Is it February?
Yeah, it's always February.
Well, they're going to show the trailer of Let There Be Carnage. So if you're looking for the Venom sequel trailer,
I'm being honest, like, whoever chose Woody Harrelson as Carnage needs to get his raise, because you cannot get anybody
crazy
that crazy. Like,
he can play crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, you know who I wanted? It's gonna bother me right now. Hold up, I'm gonna look up the actor's name. Jackie Earl Haley that played Rorschach.
Yeah, he's good too.
He's my choice for Carnage.
He's not bad. I think it was the height issue with him, because I think they wanted Venom to be like how Cassidy was over 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't think he's a bad choice.
Oh, he's excellent.
Yeah,
man.
I think it was just a height issue, and then I think no matter what, people are all when you need a character that crazy, people are always going to go back to what do you call it? Woody Harrelson's movie with what's her name? What was it? What is it? The Psycho movie he did years ago.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it right now, but I know what you mean. But he plays psycho.
He plays a
crazy.
psycho serial killer with his girlfriend. And I hate when I forget the movie. Like, people are always going to remember that performance almost earned him an Academy Award.
Yeah.
So for him to play a psycho killer like that, people are always going to go through that. And I think the only thing that hurt the dude to play Rorschach was his
height. Yeah.
No, not just his height. When he played Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street, like, he didn't knock that out the box.
But he redeemed himself on a lot of independent films.
Yeah,
like
he did very good.
Jackie Earl Haley is just a phenomenal actor, so he will always...
He was in Preacher also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a beast. But I definitely agree that he would have been a good choice. But
Jerome looks upset. Like, what were you going to say?
No,
you had this smile on your face like, yo, I'm about to go away. Like,
No, not at all. Continue.
Okay, say continue. So, WandaVision. Well, Jarrell, you have your review out. So, what do you? You can just give either a summary or just add on to what you what your thoughts on that.
So I have to be very careful here because I'm known as like
Captain Spoiler.
No, not Captain Spoiler. But it's like I'm known as the DC guy. You know,
good Lord.
You know, who puts his foot up the mouse's ass every chance he gets. So,
which they should.
But I don't want to. No, but I don't want to
come off as biased.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give the wrong impression here. Like last time when I made my Mandalorian statement.
I mean, we all make mistakes in life. So.
Whoever did those 5 filler episodes made a mistake. When I first watched, right out the gate, the first episode of WandaVision was not good. It really wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. You know, like I watched it, and after a while, I was like, okay, what's going on? The second episode was better, and I'm a little biased to the second episode because I'm a huge lover of Bewitched, and they tugged on my Bewitched heartstrings. So the scene where they were doing the magic show, like the magic, I actually thought that was great.
Very clever.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was perfect. But that doesn't mean overall that the show was good. Mm-hmm. And I can't speak on the entire show because it's only been 2 episodes, but it's a little rough coming out the gate. And I feel like a lot of people, like people that love it, you know, people are just like, I mean, because obviously you're entitled to your opinion, but the reasons that are being given, and even like when we did the last podcast, and I asked you guys, like, out of all the new Marvel shows that are coming, which one would you watch first? You all said WandaVision.
Yeah.
The reasons that all of you gave, which is the reasons that people are giving of why they love the 2 episodes so far, it's not based on the actual show. People are basing their opinion on what they know is eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people aren't praising the show. They're praising
the inevitable.
They're praising the inevitable outcome, because if you strip away what you know is going to eventually happen, we basically, honestly, for the first 2 episodes, got a 1960s sitcom.
Yeah.
The show is like, forget about, you know, the B-Man and who's this and who. Just look at the show that they gave you. It's not that good. It's really not that good. But because people know that it's eventually going to turn into something, opinions are a little skewed. And
for me, what worked, I mean, there's a lot that did not work for me. Mm-hmm. I felt like the first 2 episodes did nothing to move the plot along at all. Like you can watch both episodes and just like you said, you feel like you're watching a parody of I Love Lucy or Bewitched first thing I will say is that I did love the nice homage that they did to I Love Lucy in the first episode. Leave It to Beaver, even though I hate that show. Dick Van Dyke Show. Yeah. Just naming those for the older crowd that listens. So it was Dick Van Dyke. It was definitely Bewitched, and her hairstyle was Mary Tyler Moore. That was the show. Mary Tyler Moore show as well. They did reference to. I'm
still waiting for that I Dream of Jeannie episode.
Yeah, I mean that too. But for me, I think what really worked for me is more of the acting. Like I paid attention more to the acting because the story I was just like, okay, I already know these. The first 2 episodes felt like filler, and the third one is actually where the series is actually going to start. I did like what worked for me is the little cracks that Elizabeth Olsen's character Wanda had when you see that she's gonna snap soon. That those scenes I felt tense, like some little legit intensity. It was like, oh, she's gonna fuck somebody up, or she's gonna go off the rails right now. That worked for me. But
that was like 10 seconds. Those like
those little 10 seconds, especially when we're going to spoiler territory. Sorry if you haven't seen it. When Homeboy was choking and she was like, "Vision, fix him, like save him." Like you could just hear the tone in her voice just change. And then when the B man came up and she was just like, "No," and then it just rewinds and she fixes everything back to how it was. That worked for me. But as if you watch both episodes back to back and you present it like this is our show. What are you trying to tell your audience right now?
Because the first episode is about his boss's dinner. Yeah. The second episode is about a talent show. Yeah. That's the show.
Yeah. So what is the actual overall narrative?
Yeah. That's why when people just like, oh, it was great. I'm like, no, stop telling me what's going to happen in episode 13. What happened on this show? This episode was about her boss's dinner.
Absolutely nothing happened. So, but Sean, you can.
No, you can let Nadia.
Nadia, what are your thoughts?
So you guys, I guess you guys just brought up good points then, because I guess usually people say I'm the tough one, that I shit on stuff too much, but I feel like I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I felt like it nailed the sitcom aspect, and it did exactly what Wonder Woman failed to do. Like it got the era. Like down packed. Yeah. Like the what do you call it?
60s.
Just everything about it felt like a sitcom. Like even the like little comedic like cheesy jokes and the timing. Like you guys said, like the fashion show, the talent show was like a beautiful scene. There were so many like dope Easter eggs, like the Start commercial. Yeah. The Strucker Hydra watch. Like I think that's what I was looking at. Like I was more focused on like the buildup, I guess, like looking for things. Yeah. So I guess kind of like to Jarrell's point, I guess what works for it is what I expected and what I expect to come. Yeah. And then I guess to touch what Justin said about it being like a filler episode, I guess I can agree with that, but it's weird because like everybody's 50-50. Like everyone I talked to either loved it or completely hated it and said it was terrible. But like I enjoyed it for what it was. Like but I guess just like you guys said, like I'm looking at it as like a sitcom, but when is something going to happen? So like if it doesn't, the pacing doesn't get better, then my opinion would probably change, if that makes sense.
Well, they're supposed to have that babies the next episode when they get into the color. So hopefully it'll pick up from there. But I would like to see a little bit more of an overall narrative, because if each episode is just going to be, hey, we're doing this theme from this show. Yeah. We did Lucy and...
This week on the 60s.
We did Lucy and Dick Van Dyke on the first episode. Bewitched the second episode. I think third one's probably Brady Bunch or something like that. Or some type of 70s show they're going to do.
It's going to be
But if you keep going through each era of the sitcoms, and that's all you're doing is like, hey, we're parodying these sitcoms. Remember these guys? And not telling an overall narrative of what the whole purpose of WandaVision is supposed to be, then it's going to fall on its ass.
Because it's going to be 19 minutes of sitcom, and then you get 30 seconds of
her about to snap.
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's the actual plot for like 30 seconds. Now, back to the show.
Yeah. So.
I did like, though, like the scene you were mentioning, like when the boss was choking. Yeah. Like it got dark, like real quick. Yeah. Like it just did like a 360. So I'm hoping there'll be more like moments like that, but that'll actually lead to something.
Yeah, it was very Twilight Zone. Yeah. It's been very like they start off with the sitcom and then they end it Twilight Zone each episode, which is a nice reference to the Twilight Zone as well. But Doctor Strange is supposed to be a horror movie. That's why they also got Sam Raimi. So if they're adding these little horror elements to the WandaVision, which is supposed to connect and lead to Doctor Strange, I'm very excited about that by just seeing these little bit and pieces. But I want to see more. I want to see the pace pick up a little bit and more of an overall narrative being told to the forefront. Then, hey, we got this era of show. We're doing the Brady Bunch this week, folks. Yeah. So, yeah, Sean, what's up?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this like more of a like because I'm always defending Marvel. Marvel fucked up.
Oh, wow.
Marvel fucked up.
This is 2021. Right? Wow.
No, Marvel fucked up because the thing is, like, I got the whole premise from the beginning that they were going to do it as a sitcom show to show that she's had a psychotic break and that the only way she's repairing herself mentally is jumping from these sitcom shows to kind of like ease her psychotic break to give her a balance in life. Like she's just lost Vision. He's not coming back. Her brother, like she's lost all the important people in her life. She's lost. So now she's broken. You know, we can forget the whole at the end of Endgame, that beautiful moment she has with Bucky with like, okay, you know, do they see us and da. Like, I still think like one of the things people missed is you can kind of see the eye twitch of even though she's trying to hold it together, she held it together for Tony's funeral, but she's really dying inside. And I enjoyed the thing where what I'm looking for in the backstory is give me a clue to how she got here. Because there's a point where we know somehow something happened where somebody was trying to do something to her that caused her to have this break. But I didn't think, like, it's bad when I'm watching a series that I'm excited about and I'm going, okay, when's this going to pick up? Because this is some bullshit. Like, I'm just watching this, like, I like some of these sitcoms, but I'm like, I don't care about them. I want to know how this is helping me with the break and that you're giving me little clues like, somebody's like, hey, Wanda, what do you call it? Wanda, what's happened to you? That was so subtle that I was just like, I don't care about that. The other thing I hate is don't introduce obscure characters. The people who don't read comic books will just be like, ooh, who's that? That must be exciting. No, it's a shit character they're about to introduce if that's what they're doing. And what I mean by that is, only because it's going to lead into Spider-Man 3, please don't tell me the Beekeeper is Swarm. Because Swarm is not even that big of a character, and he's one of Spider-Man's villains, and he's not that big of a character. The only other thing I can think of that gives it hope is that it's a play on words, and the Beekeeper is really code for saying Beelzebub, which is another word, which is another name for the devil, which is another name for who Mephisto is, Marvel's version of the devil. So if that's what you're saying, because throughout the whole episode, she's like, the popular lady is like, the devil is in the details, and the woman leans over to her. She's like, that's not only where the devil is.
And, you're talking about Dottie and
yeah. So you can kind of see where it's like, okay, you could be leading into it because that also leads into something that most people wouldn't read. That also leads into a storyline from the West Coast Avengers the West Coast Avengers were U.S. Agent, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, the Vision after his death, and Power Man. And Wanda went through a psychotic break where, because Vision died, she had to fill her life with something when he came back, and she used her chaos magic to make herself pregnant. And after she was pregnant, Mephisto, trying to override Dormammu, figured that Scarlet had somehow tapped into the universe to find the two pieces of his soul that was missing that would make him whole. So that became a very big storyline. And if that's where they're going with her being pregnant, her also having two kids, twins, just like the comic book, and her, like going crazy, that's a good way. But for people who've never read the comic book, that's going to be a big surprise for them. For people who have read the comic book, they're going to be like, okay, that's a good storyline. Just do it well.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to bring this up again, but it goes back to like my Mandalorian point. Spoilers if you didn't see The Mandalorian, but it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, if somebody told me before I watched it, hey, Luke Skywalker shows up in the season 2 finale. Okay, I'm excited now. I'm happy. I want to see that. But I'm like, now I got to sit through all this bullshit to get there. And for everybody that's like, oh, but eventually this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, but I got to sit through bad TV sitcoms. But the little tidbits they keep throwing out, it's not enough. Because the first, like I said, the only reason why I even enjoyed the second episode was because I love Bewitched. It like even that had nothing to do with WandaVision.
Yeah.
But what about like all the like sword Easter eggs, and then like wasn't that Monica Rambeau?
Yeah, that was.
Yes, that was.
So I feel like that's gonna have to like lead into something.
Well, they're also leading into Agents of like
Sword.
like
Shield,
supposed to be
Sword.
coming in to like they're looking for her. So obviously somewhere she's been kidnapped and somebody's trying to use her chaos magic to create something. But just to type on a point with Jarrell with The Mandalorian, I don't understand what you saw because 90% of the people I know to watch The Mandalorian, every episode was important. And it wasn't
Everything was beautiful.
Everything was beautiful in that. And I don't understand like
The first 3 episodes.
like honestly, I would fear for your life if you said that at a Star Wars convention.
Hell yeah.
Because they would be chasing you out with pitchforks
I
and
feel like
flames.
there was no filler.
Nothing was a filler.
I am probably the. I'm not saying I don't know everybody's Star Wars level here, but I will say I'm probably the biggest Star Wars of ONG. I would say that Jarrell has some valid to it.
Some episodes.
Thank you.
Some. This doesn't mean that the will sides with you.
I didn't say the world had to side with me, but
This doesn't mean that the will agrees. So, but
I felt this way before Luke showed up.
There are episodes, and I think it's mainly because of the pacing and bad writing too. That
some episodes.
There's some episodes where I feel like the Mandalorian is playing an RPG, and he's just deciding to do the side quests over and over. Every episode, he's going on a side quest. Yo, dude, just get to the main campaign.
And don't get me wrong. The spider episodes, I was just like, okay, all I'm doing in this episode, which it wasn't terrible, but I just felt like I'm just watching Grogu eat somebody's eggs, and nobody's counting that. Like this chick, you're a mom, and you're not counting how many eggs you laid in here, and then it's like how many times like a parent he had to tell stop eating the eggs, and Grogu kind of looked at him like fuck you. Every chance I get, I'm gonna grab an egg. And then there's these spider episodes, and I'm like, okay. These ice spiders, like nobody, like this is Star Wars. Nobody has like one of these atomic flashing bombs that'll eradicate everything in front of it. Like instead of fighting these hundreds of things, like you can at least take it down from 100 to 50.
I mean, for me, just to end it with the so before we go into more stuff, to go with your point, I would say that there are a couple of episodes, yes, that it feels like one that it's filler.
There was some Disney cringe in that thing too.
It's like it's the filler. I mean, there's some Disney cringe in there as well.
Like when those two guys were arguing on their motorcycles for an hour.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are we still talking about this?
I mean, there's
Touche.
But that's every show. I mean, I can't really think of a show that doesn't have padding. I can't really think of any show that doesn't have some type of filler to. I mean, I really can't, bro. I'm sorry.
And I think I said this to Justin in the car. The difference between the Mandalorian and WandaVision is from right out the gate, the Mandalorian hits you in the face.
Yeah.
With what, and you could just keep getting excited. WandaVision kind of, and mind you, which none of my bosses ever listen to my podcast anyway, but I kind of did all my work early in the morning since I was working from home. Just so when I was supposed to be doing my back office work at 11, that I would be able to sit and watch this series uninterrupted, not staring at my computer and trying to complete work. So I took my break time to sit down and watch it, and then at one point in the middle of the show, I actually went back to going to work. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be so enthralled by this series that I'm not supposed to be like, okay, I need to go to work and watch this. This needs to be background noise.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what are you doing? No, you're talking about a person who defends you tooth and nail. And you bring me this? Yo, don't embarrass me like that.
And I think they're hiding behind, because you guys said in the beginning that what they're doing now is you have to pay attention to everything. And you know what? I feel like that's going to hurt them in the long run, and it's also going to give them an excuse to say, "Hey, listen, we're going to give you a bad 30 minutes, but we'll give you one thing that you have to pay attention to, and that's going to make everybody totally forget that the rest of this wasn't good."
And it's also a way. and I'm not. This is not Marvel bashing. This is just writing bashing, because this could be anybody. This is also a way for writers to not have to do as much exposition. And like, oh, well, you don't know what's going on? Well, maybe you should subscribe to Disney Plus,
Exactly.
maybe you should, but, if you can't afford it, maybe, then you're just missing out. So,
Out the loop.
You can't afford it, but get on your knees and beg one of your friends to give you one of the slots on there.
you better find a good friend.
But I do see that there is potential for it, because again, and I want to make this clear. I'm not saying the show overall is bad.
No,
I'm just, because hell, I did 2 reviews for both episodes, and I even put Bewitched in the thumbnail for my episode. It's just that the first 2 episodes, it just wasn't that appealing. It really just wasn't that appealing to me.
And now, do you have any final words on WandaVision?
I mean, I agree with all your points. Because I feel like Jarrell was like nail on. Like, what I liked about it is what's expected. So I guess he makes a very valid point.
And I just want to say, not to get off topic, but I just want to say, The Mandalorian brought Star Wars back to its glory.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if you
facts.
saw that sequel trilogy. So I mean, The Force Awakens was good, but then we got The Last Jedi and The Rise of Palpatine. I wrote
The Rise of Palpatine. I like that.
because I am refusing to ever recognize Rey as a Skywalker. Ain't never gonna happen.
She should have been a Skywalker.
Like, what kind of bullshit was? Not to get into a quick rant, but what kind of bullshit was that? Like, she just gonna see Luke and Leia's ghost, Skywalker. No. You gotta be born a Skywalker.
Yeah, I swear to God.
What kind of shit was that?
Like, I swear, Jarrell saw this movie, and at the end of the movie, like, as he's staring at the screen with one tear coming out of his eye, or you heard this while the credits were going. And that just summed up his entire movie experience as he was sitting there, like, watching it, like, it killed his soul to watch that movie.
No, he's right, because I didn't see Force Awakens in the theater. I saw it on like Showtime when it came out on Showtime, and I was like, yo, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like it was so good. I felt bad that I didn't see it in the theater. That when The Last Jedi came out, I actually paid to go see Last Jedi, and as soon as he tossed the lightsaber over the cliff,
Soul dropped.
I swear to God, I almost walked out the theater.
My soul, my soul dropped. I was like, "What is this? Who is this?"
Yeah,
But don't get me wrong, I did like the fact of, like, he used all his force power to make, like, a hologram of himself to fight.
man.
I thought that was cool, because
Yeah.
somebody also did an 8-bit version of it, which was still cool. I thought it was a cool concept,
Yeah,
but
they didn't
I
have-
shouldn't have to wait until the end of the movie to get that type of...
They had Luke Skywalker milking titties and getting green milk from some fucking creature. Like, what the hell?
listen, sometimes you got to get your milk from
And
somewhere.
he's going like, I was like, what is this?
And then I'm like, okay, so we just abandoned Finn and Rey's romantic relationship.
Yeah, that was being built up, and then they
I
just
took that kind of personal.
All that interracial stuff got to stop. You heard the backlash for him being a black stormtrooper.
Right.
They was like, "There's no way we're going to compound this and give him some interracial love."
That's why they did lose their shit when they saw him with a lightsaber on
Yeah,
the poster.
I was just about to say that.
It's like,
When he
how
said-
dare he touch? I'm like, y'all forgot Mace Windu? Like, the prequels, we can be Jedis too.
No,
like
but the worst part is they made Mace Windu go out like a bitch.
Nah, he's coming back. He's gonna probably be the one that that's just rumors. Like, they got Sam back. He's gonna be the one that actually saved Grogu from Order 66. So
Wait, but the Mandalorian's done though. Like, the next thing is going to be
no, it's coming
it's
back for season 3.
It's coming back.
It's
They
the
just
Book of
put it-
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And then
They're gonna do a story before.
6.
It's gonna give them time to do what they have to do.
It's going to be with the dude who sat on the throne and May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boba Fett. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm like, how much Star Wars have you not watched to know that even though he had like the smallest role in the first 3 movies,
the biggest
the
thing.
Boba Fett was the most popular character. It shocked Lucas that Boba Fett was so big. And the thing is, he was in like basically the end of what was it? It's Star
Return of
Wars.
Jedi?
No, Star Wars, the Empire. He was like at the end of
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, just picking Han up. And he was such a cool looking character. People was like, "Oh, who's that?" And then he had like a good fight scene in Return of the Jedi, only to get like bitched out. Like he didn't even get like a proper ending. And then they tried to give him something big in the 3 trilogies after that by showing his origin. And I think they kind of screwed that up. But everybody was just happy to see him.
Well, actually, the Clone Wars TV show elaborates more on Boba Fett because you actually see that he does have a vendetta against Mace Windu. Like, he tries to kill him multiple times throughout the series and fails because, Palpatine handled that. Well, no, Anakin handle makes that L real quick.
Wow.
So.
Not to go any further, we're going to come over. Does anybody just want to recognize that your man, as much as we love Luke Skywalker, does anybody want to recognize that Anakin just murdered children like it was nothing? like Robot Chicken did a good parody of it, but your man just walked in and was just like, yes, young Padawan, look at the flowers.
My thing I never understood is that in episode 3, Padme's so shocked like that he killed the younglings when Obi-Wan was like, yo, he's turned to the dark side. I got footage of him killing younglings. She's like, no, not Anakin. Like, he killed Tusken Raider children. Yeah. He told you he killed kids in episode 2. No. Like, why is you shocked?
She was like, no, not Annie. Here, let me show you this World Star. This World Star footage of Annie. Can you hear the kid in the background screaming World Star while he's doing it?
But I'm really happy that credit to Jon Favreau because there has been there's a civil war going on in Lucasfilms allegedly between Kathleen Kennedy's group and the original George Lucas camp. Because Lucas, believe it or not, George Lucas is like the advisor of everything, the Mandalorian and everything. Like, they're going to George Lucas and asking him about this stuff. And Lucas is like, this. That's why it feels like Star Wars. So, and I think what messed up their sequel trilogy is that you had different directors and they didn't have a single narrative.
Too many chefs in the pot.
Or maybe, that too. And JJ had a plan for 8, but Rian Johnson was just like, nope, I'm going to do my vision. Luke going to be this way. And,
and you really shouldn't have taken it out of J.J. Abrams' hands because he really did a really good job on Star Trek. He really brought Star Trek back from the movies. Like, the way he set up the movies in Star Trek, he really did take. Because, I don't know if you ever remember the original Star Trek movies, not the series, but the movies that they popped out.
With William Shatner, right?
I remember reading Rainbow Guy.
Yeah.
Why did he wear these?
Family
Guy joke.
like my thing is, like, they did, like, there was Star Trek the motion picture, which I was way too young to see. Like, my dad had it in his collection. And then there was the one that, I don't care if you've never watched Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. Okay, because if you can't recognize, if somebody screams Khan and you don't recognize why, that's just everywhere. And then you had The Search for Spock, which I remember, like, as a kid, I cried at the end of The Wrath of Khan when Spock died. And then I was just like, and that was the first time I said, I think going at like 10 years old, when I was like, this some bullshit because Scott, like, Spock died, and then, like, okay, we're gonna find him again as a child, and that was it. And then, it kind of fell off. There was, like, the Star Trek for The Journey Home, which was terrible. And then they tried to mix both Next Generation and the original Star Trek together in the last movie, and that was
the Generation movie, right?
Yeah, that was absolute trash because, and then they did another one where they tried to go back in time, and then they show you how the Earth got its it was the Romulans who taught them what warp driving was, and then you see how everything's. But those last 3 movies were trash, and people really thought the Star Trek movie era was over. J.J. Abrams writes these wonderful stories about it, brings it back, and everybody's like, he picked a phenomenal cast.
And credit to JJ because I'm not gonna lie. That is the only time I have ever watched Star Trek was the J.J. Abrams movies because that shit puts me to sleep. Star Wars is better. Fight me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was that the newer Star Trek movies?
Yeah, yes. Like when he.
Yeah, I saw that.
Those I have to say, he really put his love. You can tell he had love for that genre. Like he said, I was a Star Trek fan. he proved it like in every sense of the word in both movies
by wiping away the original story.
No. Here's the thing: he retold a lot of the original
like the second
stories.
one was Wrath of Khan, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, and then the first one, he really told a better story of how Kirk gets to be captain. Yeah. It was just like wow, like he was really good with it, and I have to say, like for you to bring back a genre, I can understand why they wanted him in the Star Wars trilogies to bring it back, but you know what? Unfortunately, Disney, the mouse sits around and dances and puts too many cooks in him, which leads me into the next thing I wanted to say that you didn't put on a list, but I want to say I saw something on Looper earlier. There's a huge problem in Hollywood with redoing movies. Like we all know, you do know there's a Snake Eyes movie coming out.
Yeah, and
this year.
they don't have a white person playing it. It's an Asian person.
There's a Snake Eyes movie coming out.
Ruins the lore of Snake Eyes to me, but whatever.
Which I respect because everybody's like, don't get me wrong, the first G.I. Joe movie, The Rise of Cobra, wasn't really good, but G.I. Joe Retaliation was pretty good. And
he even got his mask finally. Like his look.
And so they're bringing out a Snake Eyes movie, which they brought up a good point. This is now 10 years after G.I. Joe Retaliation, which people really don't remember. like, which was a pretty good, because, I mean, you had a movie with The Rock.
And Bruce Willis.
Tatum, and Bruce Willis. Yeah. And Bruce Willis was great in that movie.
Yeah, Bruce Willis
you never saw Retaliation?
Nah.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is the original Joe.
Yeah, he plays General Hawk. That's the thing. I mean, not General Hawk.
Hawk was Dennis Quaid.
Yes, but he plays the original guy named Joe. Which is what everything is based off of. So he was like kind of the first general. Yeah, he's Joe. But he was hilarious as like the first guy, because he was like, what was it? Scarlett was like, "What's wrong with you?" He was like, "My blood pressure's up." He was like, he said, I have constipation problems, but other than that, I'm good. After getting shot at by everybody. So they play, and I was kind of sad to watch them kill off Channing Tatum. I don't want to spoil it for you, Nadia, just in case you watch it. It was sad for them to kill off Channing Tatum's character.
But did they, though?
In the beginning, yeah, you're right. Like, you could have, right? Like, they killed his character off in the beginning.
They never referenced Marlon Wayans again.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They
killed off all the original cast members.
They killed off Ripcord. Like, he didn't even get a killing.
But they didn't kill him. They said that because somebody did bring him up, but they said that he went to like the Air Force Division. Or something. No. But here's the thing. If I was Marlon Wayans, I'd be like, all right, there's 2 times you kicked me off of something popular without giving me a proper send-off. Yeah. His own show, and then this, all right? And then, they got rid of the Baroness.
Yeah.
Because, and then they kind of brought it into, well, okay, Duke is, who did The Rock play? He played Roadblock, right? Yeah. Okay, so you took Duke,
the only black guy.
Yes, and knocked him out of it by having him die in the beginning. And then you have Roadblock and a lot of other characters, Jinx, and a lot of other characters come in, which is fine.
Lady J.
Yeah, but the problem is, why would you kill off Duke? Like, it's not like Duke has ever been going into comic books, TV shows, or cartoons. General Hawk is not going in any of those. Like, why would you? Unless later they're going to say
it's almost like they took the entire roster of G.I. Joe and they said, we're going to use half of you for the first film, we're going to use the other half of you for the second film,
which is kind of fine because
but we're going to keep Snake.
They did that with the show too.
We're going to keep Snake Eyes in every film.
Yeah, but they kind of did that in the show because
Snake Eyes is the shit.
The first, I think the first, what you would call the first series 1, it was about Duke, General Hawk, and everybody else, and then the second season was about Lady J, Flint, and everybody else. Like, Flint, all of a sudden, Duke is gone. Duke is now a general, and Flint is leading the regular.
Even the recent game that I reviewed, they do it just like that too. It's just they split the whole Joes up. Like, you play one level with either Roadblock, and then you choose other level. You got because they in different parts of the world. Yeah. So that works, but I would love to see a reboot. I mean, a reboot, just fresh start of get some up and comers. Someone that ain't gonna be like, oh, I'm too big to do this. Could come back to this now, like to really give us that.
You ever watch G.I. Joe, Nadia? Like the cartoon?
Yeah, when I was little, I don't remember much.
Yeah, but it's like that bought into what I was trying to get into, and I hate when I get off with we got to G.I. Joe talk. Like
it happens.
Hollywood is making too many remakes and fucking it up. Like the saddest.
Oh, that I agree with. I hate remakes and reboots. Like it's getting to the point where it's just like you want to smack people.
Yeah, like
Mortal Kombat.
Like here's the thing.
Coming out.
That one I actually want though.
Yeah, but that Mortal Kombat actually looks good.
That looks
because
good.
That's one exception.
Yeah, because they actually taking the storyline from that YouTube series that they did. That was really good.
Fighters.
Yeah, but one thing that's been in Hollywood limbo hell is He-Man. He-Man has been written. There's actually a YouTube thing. I'll share the links with you guys. How many times He-Man the script was written over and over again, 20 times. Like different producers, different writers have written for He-Man, and they're just
it's not that hard to do.
No, but what happens is somebody will write a really good script, and the production companies don't see a way to cash in on the toy merchandise, so they scrap it.
God.
And then the producers or the studio doesn't see a way to cash in on the toys, because that's their biggest problem. They'll write such a phenomenal script that could bring He-Man out. It's a little more grittier. It's darker. It doesn't camp you on the kind of like happy-go-lucky kind of like homosexual aspect of like He-Man, and they'll make it like a really good movie, and then they're like, this is going to work, and everybody applauds it. What about toys? This like, and then the studio's like, I like it. Studio likes it. The producer doesn't. The producer likes it. The studio doesn't. This movie has gone from, and this was starting back from it was starting back from 1999. They have been trying to remake it, and the last script was written in 2017, and it was supposed to be the dude that's did whatever Disney shows, those kids Disney shows are supposed to do it. Yeah, they scrapped it again. They said, "Yo, it's done. We're not gonna do this." They start buying the rights from Hasbro and then just turning it back over to them.
Wow.
Right, because they can't find anybody to do it.
Hasbro might as well just do it themselves.
But Hasbro tried doing it, and then the studios are like, "We don't like it." And so He-Man's in limbo hell. Michael Bay is about to do another Transformers.
Oh God!
Wait, he's coming back
oh my God, he's gonna
I thought he was gone.
No, dude, you got to understand. Like,
why?
You have to understand.
He's done enough.
As much as we hate those movies, they keep making money.
Dude, I'm getting PTSD from this shit.
They keep making money.
I will never forget when we saw, I think it was the fourth one, me, you, and JP.
Return of the King?
Yeah, that one.
Not Return of the King, or the last night.
Yeah, whatever. And I will never forget JP's face. He looked like someone just came, took his soul, slapped it, put him back in his body, and just violated him. The man looked like they took his childhood from him before his eyes. I've never seen this dude look like he's about to break down. Wow. That I will never forget that image. Because it's just like, wow.
But you have to understand also, like, Michael Bay is going to continue to do this because it makes, believe it or not, I had to look this up myself. Michael Bay makes billions. It makes close to billions.
Yes.
As trash as
God.
Yeah, look, as trash as this movie is in the US, overseas he clears,
because they don't know any better.
He ruined Ninja Turtles. He destroyed it.
Yeah, but he clears for some reason in Japan, China, Europe, and overseas over there, he makes about $900 million off the movie. And then let's say over here he only makes like maybe $50 million. He's more than he makes the movies for like $300 million, makes $900 million overseas. He's money to the studios. Like, they don't care how bad it is or how people like us hate it. He's just like, I have a chance to make over $1 billion off this man's trash. Okay.
If there's anything I ever want to forget, it will be the fact. Thank you for bringing that up, Nadia. And
That's
also, don't ever bring that up again. It's the fact that triggered. This is Justin fucking triggered
the shit out of
the ninja Turtle. If you know
He
me, if you guys
destroyed.
know me, you've been watching me for 10 years. You know, besides Star Wars, Turtles is my favorite fucking franchise. Period.
When you mention
And-
the T word,
Yo, that
How
shit.
the 90s Turtles look better than his
Yeah,
shit.
yes, and the fact that he cast motherfucking Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman, that just
Oh, I don't even think I saw that.
don't.
Was
Just-
that the latest one?
yeah, that was the latest
the
one
second
with
you-
Arrow as Casey
Yeah, I didn't
Jones.
watch
Hey,
How you gonna get mad at Medea being Baxter Stockman?
Because he fucked it up. That's why.
he damn sure was. Oh shit!
And
was
then
Baxter
Megan
Stockton.
Fox.
He was Baxter Stockton. He wanted it because it was a franchise role.
Megan
And it
Fox.
just-
The problem with Megan Fox is she does not look like a news reporter.
thank you.
Not no April.
I mean, not saying there ain't no hot news reporters, but she
No,
was
don't get
not.
it wrong. She could have, but you know why she was April O'Neil? Because Michael Bay owed her for all the shit he put her
Put through
through
in
on
Transformers, so he had to
Yep.
give her another fucking
I mean,
franchise.
I actually like Stephen Amell as Casey Jones, but I would say that the only positive thing I can say about that movie was Bebop and Rocksteady.
Rocksteady, that's
Yeah.
it, and that's because you got that was the smartest casting to get Uncle Ruckus to play one of them.
to play Bebop.
To play Bebop, that was good,
I did-
but
I
that
did-
was
I did
the
enjoy that,
only thing. And then
Yeah,
the
they
fact-
weren't ninjas. They didn't look like turtles.
I don't know what
It was
they look
just
like.
a Michael Bay film.
They
It was
look
just
like
explosives.
They look like
weren't
fucking
trained fighters.
Battletoads. They look like they was from Battletoads universe,
I
just on
hated it.
steroids. I fucking hate that movie. Fuck that
I mean,
franchise.
I hate the first movie for how they messed up the origin. Because remember, like when the kid,
Oh yeah, that too.
yeah, because
Was-
remember the kid just like dropped them into the sewer. In this one, like they actually like purposely tried to make them.
I will watch any
and
movie.
April was their friend or something.
Yeah,
I will watch-
Yeah, April used to own them. That God.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
like, what is this?
Oh
shit?
God!
I will watch any
I think this is
movie.
the first thing we all agreed on.
I will
That was
watch.
complete trash.
I will watch the entire Transformers franchise over and over and over. If you gave me a life contract that I will never have to visually see any images from that shit again. That is how bad. I don't hate a lot of things. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with
Yeah,
both of you.
like-
I agree with all of you 1,000%.
Nah, but can we talk about Fast and the Furious 35 in space?
Oh no!
Like, I hate this shit, man. They gotta stop. Like, that used to be one of my favorite franchises, and I just think it's just a joke now. Like,
That shit should stop that.
35.
I mean,
Rick and Morty,
she's right, though.
two brothers, and a Mexican armada, and old ladies, and tacos, and that episode, that's literally Fast and Furious. Like,
No,
no
she's
joke.
right. She's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's not wrong.
No, all seriousness,
I just wish they would go back to racing cars.
To racing cars
because
now they
because
freaking
none
break
of
gravity.
none of these people are qualified to be secret agents to be driving tanks.
The wildest thing is
Dumb.
like they defy the laws of physics every movie. Right?
yeah, I mean, it's entertaining. It's dumb popcorn fun. I mean, but honestly, 7 was the best ending you could have gave that series, and you decided since that shit made
Is
$1
that
billion.
the one where they did the beautiful thing for,
For Paul Walker, yeah.
Paul Walker? Yeah,
that's
that
where
was a
you should have
beautiful
ended.
ending.
Storybook ending, last mission. You guys ride off to the sunset.
And I just feel like
money
they
talks.
shit all over his grave.
Yeah, listen.
It's mad
what do
disrespectful.
you
That CGI shit, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
It's mad disrespectful.
Yeah, listen.
Brought up the C word.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
think they had
sorry.
to. Yeah. No, I think they just did the CGI because his brother looked a lot like him, but not enough like him for you to believe
it, yeah.
if he was sitting in that car that he
Yeah.
would like that you could see him drive. You would definitely see something was wrong, even though that CGI made him look like a crazy psychopath.
Holographic
in there.
projection.
Like he was just looking at him like my man was on enough Quaaludes to kill a horse, and his eyes were mad over like yeah, we're gonna race it. It's like yo, dude, you could have toned the eyes down a little bit.
I mean, for me, I think that was the perfect ending. But now they did confirm that they are going in space for the next one, like the 9 that's coming out. So Ludacris
I
did
talked about
confirm.
that for like 10 years, and that shit's
Yeah,
happening.
Ludacris did confirm like there is a space scene. I was like, all right, y'all might as well just become fucking superheroes.
Maybe this'll end it because remember like all horror films end once they go to space.
I mean, but then Hobbs and Shaw was just basically a superhero flick with
But
The Rock.
Hobbs and Shaw was kind of good. Hobbs and Shaw was funny.
Hobbs and Shaw was good. I like.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you said, back to the racing. Like,
I
and then
just
you
forget.
had the Han plot hole too. Isn't he dead?
No, see, but
I think that was a waste of a character because what's his face? Idris Elba. His
Yeah.
character was dope as hell.
Yeah, I see. I liked Hobbs and Shaw because it wasn't about the racing. It was actually they were both. He's a bounty hunter, like a federal bounty hunter, and he actually works for MI6. So that's the only reason
you can
that
buy, you can buy
that movie worked.
But see, but that makes sense. Like if you're doing like espionage, like worldwide espionage, it works for Hobbs and Shaw because they're secret agent spy people. Yeah. Vin Diesel is not a secret agent. He's a race car driver who lives in California. Oh, sorry.
They were just like, let's take every big action star and just throw them a few $1 million to just be in a movie together.
And the thing is,
blow shit up.
and nobody dies.
She said it blow shit up.
But
Yeah, nobody dies. They
the
all
most
got
important thing y'all forgetting.
Lazarus Pit.
John Cena.
Oh God!
Like, listen, I knew the movie was over when they brought John Cena in as his brother, and I was just like, okay, this is time for this franchise to just die. Like, it's just
His long lost brother. Everything is family.
yeah,
Family,
like every
family.
like, and that's the thing. Like,
And of course, his long lost brother is white.
yeah, I was like, what? Well, Vin Diesel is white. So,
Is he though? What is he?
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, is he?
He is? I thought they were Hispanic.
Yeah.
What is he?
Yeah,
His
listen.
his sister in the movie's Hispanic.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I
Now
can't.
his sister's white.
Yeah,
Oh shit!
like the thing is, you really can't tell anymore with this movie, like what they are. like you just know.
Besides
they're
Tyrese
just,
and Ludacris.
yeah, exactly. They're just people. At this point, they're just people. So, like, my biggest problem.
And Michelle Rodriguez died and came back, right?
yeah, like, well, technically, they never showed she died. They showed that her car blew up, but then she
Han.
was fine in the hospital. But Han, they can do the same thing.
Yeah, because
you just
they never
see
showed
the body.
Yeah,
You
when the
just
car.
see
He's
the
doing that Gal Gadot
Oh, they doing that?
dated, right?
They doing that cop
Died in
out.
a
Oh,
plane?
we didn't
Yeah.
see the body
You
die.
called her Gatto. You called her Gal Gatto.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they can also bring Gal Gadot back because at the end of the day,
she dead.
No. Here's the thing. Just like with Han, you didn't see her die.
saw her fall.
You just saw her fall. That could mean any. You just saw her. And she didn't even fall correctly. It was just like he let go. It was just like and she disappeared in 2 seconds into the darkness.
No,
Like,
the difference is though when Han quote unquote blew up, he was in Tokyo. None of his friends were there. Nobody saw it. We didn't even see.
Oh yeah, didn't they mess up the timeline with that? I don't remember.
no, they fixed the timeline because that's how you find out that Jason Statham is involved because he was the one that knocked Han into the thing. But that's what I'm saying. You don't see Han blow up. You just see the car hit.
Because when
And it wasn't even the last one. It was like 3 movies ago.
Well,
that
When
you-
were they in DR?
Well, there's only 2 more left.
2 more before that.
There's only 2 more left. This is going to be 9, and then 10's the finale. So, I mean,
I don't even know the last one I saw. Honestly, I was like,
I've
I
seen
can't
them
deal
all,
with this shit.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
you just tapped out early.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
We actually went to the premieres. We got
Yeah.
right into the premieres. So
We saw 8 with The Rock and
so we were actually sitting there. It's funny that
I'm next to
who was
Buster.
it?
I was next to Buster
Yeah,
Rhymes.
Jarrell was sitting next to. I'm not Jarrell. Justin was sitting next to Buster Rhymes.
Yo, where my seat at? I'm like, oh boy.
And I forgot who else went with us that day. It was
Me, Anthony.
Anthony. And Anthony sits next to Rod Digger and not Rod Digger.
Was he near Stateman?
What's his name?
I thought he was near Stateman's wife.
No. He was next to what's
Wait,
his
you
name?
saw Flip Mode?
What happened?
You saw Flip Mode?
Yeah, Justin sat next to him. He sat next to what's his name from Love and Hip Hop. Him and his wife. They had,
I know what you're talking about though. Yeah.
yeah,
But
like
I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, like he sat next to them, and like you just sit there and you're just like, yo, like and me, I sat next to they were kind of hot, but two hot Spanish girls and their annoying brother, and I was up in the balcony and I was just sitting up there.
I'm up in the VIP areas chilling.
Yeah.
VIP seats.
Do any of you watch Power?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sat close to Angela from Power thanks to Sean.
when
We did
saw-
when we did the Anthony Mackie movie
I was there.
Yeah, she was there too.
were you?
Yeah, she was. She came up on the line. She was behind us.
Really?
But she was with other people that I knew. She was there.
Wait, you and I met that day?
At the Altered Carbon.
Yeah,
show.
Altered Carbon.
Yep. She came up. She came up with.
You saw her close? Ah.
Yeah, she was sitting next to because Sean was in the aisles. Sean
I was at work.
Sean had the aisle seat. I was next to Sean, and she was across from Sean, 1 seat down. And I
That's
tapped
so
her,
dope.
and I was like, "Oh shit, it's Angela from Power." I said that shit mad loud.
Man,
You know what was in Jarrell's mind? He was just like, I saw you naked.
No, I said that about
I missed the
because
man.
I didn't see Altered Carbon until Sean took me to the the premiere for season 2.
I love Altered
Yeah,
Carbon.
I then went home and watched season 1. The Asian girl who had like the naked clones. I remember her because she played Daisy's mom on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But she was also she played on Supergirl. Like the Asian villain on Supergirl, the one that has like the underground fight club.
Yes.
For MetaHuman. She played that character.
No, but like Angela.
Yeah. Well, so if you were there, then you saw her. Then you saw all of them. Then.
Yeah, but I mean not up close. But
yeah.
I saw her there.
Yeah, she sat next to me.
And Misty, I love Misty.
Yeah,
I miss premieres, man.
Yeah, she sat on the other side.
Those were so much fun.
Anthony Mackie was on the other side. I was like, bro.
No, I mean that was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a
I still
good
got the bobblehead.
So you mean that's Funko Pop?
Funko Pop, yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between a Funko Pop and a bobblehead?
Nah,
Bro,
there's a
you about
big
to
difference.
open up a. All right, Jarrell, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for that he just did it. Jarrell,
All right, for the record, ever since
you can go. You can go now.
Ever since that day, though, the Funko Pop, it's in all of my review videos ever since that day.
Here, there's a difference between bobbleheads and Funko Pops. Even though they have bobblehead Funko Pops.
Yes.
But there's a difference. Like, you lucky Anthony, who was also there at the premiere,
But
you.
But you and her, you and Nadia knew each other then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like,
so you just didn't introduce me to nobody.
No, but Nadia came up and she's like, hey, she was like, I'm back here because there's another guy that's back there, Anthony Peoples. He's a huge Funko Pop fanatic. And they were all behind us coming in. We just got to the front because you got there early for us.
Yeah, I did.
So, so when I came into the line.
I was mad behind that, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He told me to be there at like 6 o'clock. I got there like 5:30.
Yeah, I'm glad we got there.
We didn't go inside until like 7:15.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
You have to, or ask Nadia. That's how you end up in the back with everybody else. Like, like she was there a lot. Listen, we met Nadia at a pre-Comic-Con thing, and I found out a lot about the behind the scenes of Comic-Con from the people there, and that was it. Nadia has been in the game with a lot of stuff for a while. Like, I was like, damn, Nadia, you covered this, you covered that. I was like,
yeah, son.
Yep. So I was like, yo, that's how everybody gets to know each other.
Yeah,
like,
it's a whole network.
Which I didn't know. Nadia knows like half the cosplayers that we have on the site.
Yeah, because we're getting more people that follow us on ONG, and even with my Imagine Division, it's like. I click on every profile that follows me just to make sure it's not spam, because if it is, I just delete it. But then it says follow Gotham Geek Girl follows or Geek Podcast follows. So it's like, or Jarrell follows or something like that. I was like, oh, okay. So if they followed, then I know it's legit. Let me click follow back so we don't get a DM like, hey, I'm following you because of Nadia. Can you give me a follow back? So
no, we follow Nadia because she's important here now. Oh shit.
So
imagine you just said that to somebody like we follow her because she's important.
No, I did that to somebody who my brother follows, and it was like, oh yeah, I follow your brother. I was like, and okay. Oh, can you give me a follow back? I called my brother. I was like, yo, who is this? She's like, man, I only talked to that dude twice. So I was like, it was like block. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, you got people like that just fishing for likes.
But the last thing, another thing that came out, I don't think anybody really has watched this, but Disenchanted is really a funny series.
Oh, we have some recommendations, folks.
It's done by the creators of The Simpsons. No, it's not The Simpsons. It's
Simpsons.
Oh, it's The Simpsons. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. The creators of The Simpsons, which is really, it's not dark. It's just funny dark. It's like, I swear what's his name that does Family Guy? He has his hand in it because it's a story about a princess who doesn't want to take her role, and her dad's the king and everything else. And then you find out like the devil sent a demon up to get her soul, and he ends up hanging out with her.
So it's the Little Mermaid.
No. But it's like he hangs out with her, and then she has a little fairy gnome that she runs with in their adventures. And this is the only part I will spoil. Like the end of season 1, you find out her mother really is the evil one. Like her dad, her dad's new wife is not evil as she likes to make it. Yeah. It was her mother who was really the evil one when she comes back. Season 2, you have to watch it. When you get to the end, there's another cliffhanger. which is really good. And then season 3 starts, and it's just funny. It's like the jokes they probably can't say on The Simpsons, they save for this. And it's just like, it's really bad. It's like really crass. And if you don't watch, like, it's one of those, like, if you had nothing to watch this weekend, watch this. And you'll laugh your way through it. Like,
I was actually rewatching the original Thundercats like this past weekend. Shout out to Robert Burble Fruit.
I hate those fuckers.
And Safari Joe, who does it again.
I hated those things.
I fucking hate it.
You didn't like the Robert Burbles?
No.
How dare you?
Oh, what about that? I forgot what that creature was. I'm not sure what it was when Lionel kind of launched at him because he looked like he was weird looking. And then he was just like, while I look weird to you, I thought, and then you realized that I was friendly. That guy.
Oh man, I don't think I got there. I'm up to like episode 30.
Either way, I hate that guy. So,
yeah, shout out to Thundercats.
I was watching, Ashley put me onto this, which I recommend since we gotta get to a little bit of the otaku section. Alice in Borderland. That shit is actually pretty good. It's a Japanese or Korean? I can't tell. I can't remember. But it is a good show. It's about these guys who, one, basically he's a loser. Just literally, he's a gamer. Well, not saying he's gamers are losers, but he himself feels like he's a loser in life. No job. All he does is play video games. Missed out on his job interview. His best friend just got fired for sleeping with his boss's girl. And then his other best friend is basically supporting his mom's habit or something like that. So they go into this bathroom because they're being chased by the police or something like that. They do some dumb shit. And then they come out and the entire Tokyo's gone. Like, everybody's gone, like, vanished. Yeah. So they get put into this game that in order to keep surviving, they have to keep playing these games because now their whole life has a timer on it. Okay. So it's a little bit mix of and the games that they have to play reminds you of that movie Escape Room where you have to solve puzzles, things like that. So it's a mix of, for those who watch anime, it's a mix of Gantz, without the aliens, but you have somebody that's literally controlling your whole fabric of life, and you have a little bit of the Escape Room. It's actually pretty good. I'm on episode 2 so far. It's actually, I would definitely recommend that one.
I was going to say I like that movie better when it's called Sword Art Online.
Oh, I mean...
Sword Art was pretty cool. I never finished it.
Sword Art is all right. And actually, as far as winter anime begins, Attack on Titan is on its final season. So... I'm definitely checking that out, folks. So,
got any recommendations, Nadia?
For
in general,
anything that you've been watching?
Yeah, like what
watching, reading, playing.
Oh well, reading. I started reading from Image Comics Scumbag.
It's actually called.
I've heard of that, but it's not bad.
Really funny. I kind of like it.
There's a lot of comics from Image that people overlook, like Quantum and Woody. Like if you know, like there are funny comic books like that you need to like take a chance and sit down and read. But Jerez is laughing because the title is Scumbag.
Yeah, he's literally a scumbag. Like he's like a druggy, like white trash, like piece of shit, and he becomes like he's like forced to become a hero. Like I don't want to give too much away, but like it's basically like the last resort. Like this is the piece of shit like we have to like rely on, it's funny.
Sounds like
I really like Image.
Yeah, that Brooklyn accent comes out when she's a scumbag.
Scumbag, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, some coffee.
What have you been watching, Jarrell?
Thundercats, right?
Well, yeah, as I said, the last thing I watched was Thundercats. I watched this one anime on Netflix, and I got to get the title for it, but I can't remember. But it's
was it hentai?
No, it's not hentai. it's a 2-season anime on Netflix, but it's about a person who's basically a scam artist. And then he bumps into like another scam artist who's better than he is, and then the two of them end up clicking up to pull like the biggest scams of all time. They did this one thing where he took the guy to a restaurant because he's just like, listen, he's like, you don't know about being a scam artist. Let me show you how to scam. So he goes into a restaurant. There's this big fat white dude. He's eating at the restaurant. He bumps into the guy on purpose and spills wine all over the guy's clothes. And then he says to the guy, he's like, hey, I apologize. I want to pay for your dry cleaning. And then the guy's like, no, you don't have to pay for the dry cleaning. He's like, you sure? I'm going to pay for your dry cleaning. He's like, no. He's like, you don't have to pay for it. Don't worry about it. So then They sit down, they order all the expensive stuff on the menu, and then when the girl comes back to give him the check, he then points to the guy who he spilled the drink on and says, hey, that guy over there is going to pay for our meal. And then the waitress is like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, watch. Then he says to the guy, hey, are you sure you don't want me to pay for it? And the guy's like, no, don't pay for nothing. I'll take care of everything. And I was like, wow.
What is it called? That sounds pretty cool.
I gotta get the name for it for you.
I'm gonna have to check that out. It's on Netflix?
Yes, it's on
Netflix. Is it Netflix original or is it actual?
I think so.
It's Netflix original anime, and then there's actual anime.
Yeah. I don't think.
That's shots fired.
How do you feel, Justin? I know you probably hate it. I don't even know how you categorize or what you call it. But the new kind of anime where it's like terrible freaking 3D looking shit.
That's because
I know what you're talking about.
I don't consider that really anime. Mainly because there's a different. See, there's anime, and then there's different types of style of anime, and then there's anime inspired. Mm-hmm. And
it's called The Great Pretender.
Okay, yeah,
it's called The Great Pretender.
I've heard of that. And as far as the CGI, it goes back to also studios too, because a lot of the animation, I think, from someone in the comment section, another hardcore otaku, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the Netflix anime originals are actually developed in Korea, South Korea, not Japan. So that's why certain art styles don't look as authentic anime as it should. Yeah. So I really don't. I think they
well, Koreans have their own style of doing anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Japanese have their own style of doing.
Yeah, and that's how you can tell from time to time, like what it's.
Then they start making it like
I couldn't even watch the new Ghost in the Shell because it looked terrible.
I refuse to watch anything CG heavy. Like the only way I can watch it if it was originally supposed to be CG. If it's something that for me started 2D, I can't watch it. I cannot watch
Transformers War on Cybertron is
actually, I'm actually going to start that tonight.
That's actually very good.
But to answer your question, like I absolutely hate the CGI anime. I will consider myself an anime snob. Like I am one of those purists that likes his anime hand drawn, just like how it was back in the days, like 80s and 90s, early 2000s. Like
something that was made 30 years ago looks better than something made in 2021. That's a problem.
I watched Vampire Hunter D the other day and Ninja Scroll because I text you that. I text you on the meme of the one of the master who was like when he got the news. It's this funny meme like the dude.
My man did not miss a stroke while he was he was railing homegirl and was like getting bad news and did not miss a stroke.
Like it's the scene in Ninja Scroll where the dude's banging the chick out. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, people, but he's banging the girl out, and the girl who survived the rape comes back and says, "Yo, the clan is dead," and he's just like, "All right, so go report over there," and he just continue fucking. I'm just like, bro, your whole clan is dead, and I mean, can you stop for a bit and just,
your clan is dead, but she's not, and I'm about to get all of this right now.
Wow. But I personally like my anime. Like, don't get me wrong, because I don't want to come off as someone who hates new anime. Yeah. I hate the stories not even hate. I don't like the stories that's being told because it's all becoming the same type of tropes. Like, it gets to the point where you're hearing the same cliches. You have the high school kid or junior high school kid who's the chosen one, and when it comes to mech anime, you have the harem anime where it's a kid, a shy nerd or a shy goofy kid who likes a girl and can't tell it to the last episode of the damn series. Then you have your fighting anime, which basically has become a CGI spot fest. So there are good ones, but it just seems like it becomes very repetitive. It's like very heavy-handed. There's no real adult character or adult anime, and that's why I put up that meme a long time ago where I was just like, back in the day, you look at anime compared to when we grew up compared to now, there's no real adult themes or adult central type of stories. Like, we did have sex scenes back in the days. Yeah. We did have drug use. I'm not saying it has to be rated R or bring that back, but I'm just saying that not every person that watches anime wants to see high schoolers or junior high school kids. And where the hell are these people's parents? Why is every anime character's parents dead?
and also, where the black people at?
I mean, that's
set in Japan. Let's
it's
be
real.
realistic. It's set in Japan.
It's mostly
if there are black
animes.
people in it, it's very little.
Mostly.
Why everybody gotta be blonde though?
Because it's set in Japan. Like
Japanese people don't have blonde hair.
Dude,
a lot of them do.
Dude, my visual novel has like 3 or 4 black people, but I mean, still, I have the majority is still catered to what the anime.
No, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's the catered, but
yeah, man, you're gonna have to let. There's just certain things you're gonna have to let the "I'm black and I'm proud" thing go.
It's not even.
It's Japan. I'm not even mad that I don't see any black people in it because it's Japan. Like,
No,
I'm not looking for representation in anime.
The only time I look for representation if they do something in America, like it's an anime, and it's like, okay,
just to piggyback,
it's like now that's just not.
Yeah,
realistic.
I mean, just to piggyback off the last episode, before I end this with the anime talk. I mean, I don't look for any type of medium to go, oh my God, I need to make sure that there has to be some representation. Like, I don't look for that. I look for this is just how I was raised. I didn't grow up thinking like, oh my God, I can't relate to Peter Parker because he's not black, or now I can relate to Miles better because he's black. That's just not looking at content of a person's character.
Yeah, of course.
But
the stories could be different.
yeah, because everything is story. And I have one recommendation. This is just for writers, and I'll stop. There's a book called Story by Robert McKee. And I think I talked about that before, but it's a really great book for anybody. And I hope to God Marvel and DC writers who are writing the comics today read that shit because it has so much emphasis on what story and character development, how you're supposed to approach a story is supposed to be. And how characters are very important, how your setting has to be a character in itself to bring life into your stories. So it's Story by Robert McKee. It is a screenwriting book, but it has so much elements that any writer or any creator who's trying to tell a story can pick apart. Like I learned something about something called triangle subplots, which I had no idea what it was, but he broke it down to a science. I was just like, oh shit. This makes sense. So, but yes, to answer the question, not a big fan of today's CGI anime. I think it looks horrible. Especially the Crunchyroll originals. They look horribly budget. So I don't know, Nadia. I don't pay attention to it. It's
I think
pulling teeth.
I think you guys would like The Great Pretender though.
No, it sounds good.
Because it makes you think.
You know what you should watch that you'd probably get into? 7 Deadly Sins, which I got into that by accident. Like that, I was just looking for something to watch on Netflix, and that came up. And then I'm watching the story, and I'm like, okay, these are cute little stories. Let me see what this is. And that story went from like cutesy. It goes from cutesy to like downright dark action in a blink of an eye every episode. Yeah. And you just sit down, and you just like it dragged me into the point where I was just like, Netflix, if you do not bring that next season out, I'm gonna go donkey punch your producers. Like that had to be brought out.
You know what needs another season?
Parasite was also good. Also,
where the hell is High School of the Dead 2?
Well, they're never gonna bring that out because you remember, like this is early ages of ONG. Remember, 2013 they just released the next set of mangas. Yeah, the guy who wrote it died.
Oh, I forgot he died.
Yeah, and then they decided they were going to try to bring it out, but there was always an issue with bringing that out.
I forgot he died.
So there's a point around, so you're taking 2013. By 2017, people were kind of like, I'm tired of waiting. It's like, I've read all the mangas. You have enough in the mangas to make another story. And at this time, High School of the Dead has been out since what, 2010, 2009?
The zombie craze is done.
Yeah, that point of it might, if it comes out, it'll just be everybody happy to see it come out, but I don't know if it'll be that good. Nadia, you've seen High School of the Dead, correct?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. You have Netflix, you have to sit down and watch it. High School of the Dead was probably the anime zombie flick that was like, like seriously, like there was no, like I actually saw High School of the Dead. There was a Japanese website that used to premiere the episodes as they premiered on live TV. Like, since Japan was 24 hours ahead of us, about 10 o'clock in the morning U.S. time, you'd get to see High School of the Dead, like when it was coming on. and it was a phenomenal show. But they did two short. What's it called? Like when they do it, like they did two
OVAs.
They did two short OVAs after that, and then people were waiting. They said they couldn't write anything because the guy who wrote it, he wrote the mangas, but he was only halfway done with it. And then when he finished it off, which I think is like 15 books, he passed away.
Yeah.
And so now that's what they were waiting for. So
and last thing on the anime before I wrap it up, I do my usual. On Instagram, I do my daily anime recommendation. So today's recommendation, if you're watching this, or if you're going to be listening to this from this recording, is Mad Lax, which is a mercenary. It's a pretty decent one. Used to watch it when they had the Anime Network. Oh, wow, back in the days, the Anime Network. So it's about a mercenary who lost a memory. I know it's cliche. I know. But it's actually pretty good action. And for my old school recommendation for the younger generation, I want you to check out Akira. That is, if you have never watched Akira, check out Akira. I think that is one of the cornerstones of anime besides Astro Boy, which is very old. But yes, watch Akira. That is your old school recommendation. Next episode, I'll give you another one. So,
also to anybody who hasn't checked out the new Anthony Mackie sci-fi flick on
Out of
Netflix.
Wire.
Oh, is it good?
It's pretty good so far. I'm almost done with it. It's pretty good. It's
a show?
No, it's a movie, but I'm halfway.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm halfway done with it, and it's really good so far.
The guy who plays, I was like, I'm gonna check it.
Yeah, the guy who plays the lead in Snowfall is in it.
I was telling Justin earlier on HBO Max, they just put up the Vixen anime on the DC section. Also, also the Deathstroke anime is on there as well. So if you want to see Vixen and Deathstroke, they're on HBO Max.
And on Amazon, I highly recommend One Time in Miami. I watched it yesterday.
It's got rave reviews.
It's brilliant. Like the guy who plays Malcolm X, I'm not saying he might be better than Denzel, but he did give Denzel a run for his money, playing Malcolm X. And the guy who did, the actor who played Muhammad Ali, I ain't see Will Smith's performance after him. He nailed Ali. Like he really did a good job. So Regina King.
What is it called?
One Time in Miami. It's on Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's about the night Malcolm X, Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, and Muhammad Ali were all in Miami, and they met up for one night, based off of true events. Of course, there's some fiction in there, of course, because it's based off a play as well. But it's really, really good. So for a first-time director, Regina King knocked it out of the park. Like there's already Oscar buzz for her portrayal, her directing. But brilliant film. Definitely want to recommend that. That's my last recommendation. And Scott Pilgrim, guys, re-released. Pretty damn good. Pick it up for the games. PlayStation 4, Xbox, and the Switch.
Oh, before we finish, I forgot. I wanted to ask if any of you heard of this yet. I don't think it's out yet, but apparently there's going to be a samurai movie. It's going to be like the first 77-minute one-take action movie.
No. That sounds good.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get the article. I had it saved.
Is it by the guys who did the Raid Redemption?
It says Crazy. It's called Crazy Samurai. So it's set to debut. Okay, so it's set to debut February 12th, and apparently it's 77 minutes shot in one take. So I'm so curious how this is going to be.
Oh, nice.
And it's an action film. Oh, that's
400 warriors. Yeah, it sounds sick.
Okay, that's damn. Be on the lookout for that. Put that in your queues.
Yeah, Crazy Samurai.
Yeah, what got my attention was one take.
Yeah, that's
I was like, one take. What?
Shit.
So how many times did y'all do that?
Yeah, like the rehearsal.
How long did y'all rehearse this? This had to be
Right? Shit.
So is that it? I
That's
think we
it,
covered
man.
everything that we need to.
Any last words? Shout outs, promotion.
Last words. Watch Batwoman tonight.
Okay, and
Don't be hating. Like,
I'm not hating. Nadia, any last words? Plug your website, etc.
GothamGeekGirl.com. Stay tuned for more stuff.
And of course, us here at otakusgeeks.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And of course, share. Of course, follow us on Instagram at otakusgeeks.com. And most importantly, visit otakusgeeks.com. And Justin, we out. And imaginativevisions.com. Peace. Later.